Hello, and a warm welcome to Reddit Echo.
13 years old. An age where you're no longer a child, but not quite an adult. An age where your imagination is both the greatest gift and the most terrible curse. And it was at that age that a story unfolded for me, the echoes of which still freeze my blood to this day. At the time, our family lived in my grandparents' old house. The house was full of memories, ghosts of the past, and objects that seemed to have a life of their own. But there was one item that all of us kids hated and feared the most. In my aunt's room, it stood. It was a doll, nearly 2 feet tall, in a Victorian dress with yellowed lace. Her face, made of cold porcelain, was framed by curly hair, and her lips were curved into a perpetual, rigid smile. But the most terrifying part was her eyes. Glassy, empty, dead. They seemed to follow you no matter where you moved. Someone in the family, probably in an attempt to humanize this creepy creation, had turned it into a lamp. But the switching mechanism was a nightmare in itself. To turn on the light, you had to take her cold, plastic hand, raise her arm, and then lower it. A quiet, dry click of bones on hinges, and the room would be flooded with a yellowish light that made the shadows on the walls dance even more eerily. She stood on a nightstand, right next to my aunt's bed, facing the door, as if greeting everyone who entered with her lifeless, piercing smile. We always tried not to enter that room without a reason. But one day I was home alone. I needed an extra blanket. A cold autumn was setting in, and the old house was drafty, and all the spare blankets were in the closet, in my aunt's room. My heart sank. I was no brave soul, I admit. But then my childish logic kicked in. There were 2 factors in my favor. First, it was a clear afternoon, and sunlight flooded the room. I wouldn't need to touch that doll lamp. And second, and this was key, the closet was located immediately to the right of the entrance. My genius plan was simple. I wouldn't lift my gaze to look at her. No way. I approached the door, took a deep breath, and staring at the floor, stepped inside. The parquet floor under my feet, dust motes dancing in the sunbeams. That's all I saw. Taking a step, I sharply turned 180 degrees. Now my back was to the doll. I could feel its presence, that tingling, icy chill on the back of my neck. I reached out, found the closet door handle, and pulled it open with a jerk. The door creaked open. Without looking, I bent down and started feeling for the stack of folded blankets. Fabric, warmth. There it is. I grabbed the first soft bundle I found and was about to leave when suddenly, something changed. I froze. The room had become brighter. The shadows that should have been in front of me were gone. The air changed, became thicker. And then I felt it. The slow, chilling uncurling of every hair on the back of my neck. Goosebumps crept down my spine like icy spiders. This wasn't just fear. This was knowledge. A deep, animalistic knowledge that I was not alone in the room. My heart began to pound, turning into a wild drum, beating a rhythm of terror. My throat went dry. An eternity. I stood there for an eternity, trying to convince myself it was a trick of the light, that it was my paranoia. But my survival instinct, ancient and relentless, screamed one thing. Run! My entire being wanted to bolt out of the room screaming, but my legs felt like lead. Before I could run, I had to look. I had to confirm my nightmare. It was the hardest decision of my life to turn my head. And I looked. Man, I wish I hadn't looked. My gaze, still glued to the floor, slowly crept upward. The leg of the nightstand. Dust. The hem of her pale, lacy dress. And then, her hand. Her plastic pale hand was not lowered by her side, as always. It was raised. Not just raised. It was outstretched. Her graceful, ghastly finger was pointed directly across the room. Directly at me. Time stopped. Those empty, glassy eyes seemed to be looking not through me, but into my very soul. Her dead smile now seemed not just creepy, but triumphant. She knew. She knew I was here, and she had pointed me out. I don't remember running out of the room. I don't remember how I trembled afterward, wrapped in that very blanket that now felt like a shroud. I only remember one thing. Her hand, her finger, pointed at me. That traumatizing vision has been burned into my brain since I was 13. A deeply uneasy, creepy memory. And sometimes, when the night is especially dark, I feel like I can still feel her lifeless, accusing gaze upon me.
Don't want to lose this channel and always be up to date with new videos? Then make sure to subscribe. The story continues, and it's only getting more interesting.